Thank you all for being with us today. As I have been saying to you off camera, we love sharing how the work is progressing and what's going on and where you're located, and just others that may be in your vicinity could reach out as well and say, hey, can we talk? But before we go too far, I'd like you to introduce yourself. So, Carrie, let's start with you if we can.
Hi, my name's Carrie McKee, and I'm with Missouri's Department of Social Services. I've been with their Office of Workforce and Community Initiatives for 4 years. I came to the department after 20 years in nonprofit development or fundraising. So I often say, and when I'm introducing myself to a Bridges class, how much this work would have really helped me to better understand, that wealthy class when I was doing that kind of work. So now, obviously, it's helping me in this role as well.
Yeah, it is. Bailey.
Good morning. I'm Bailey Watts. I am the media director for the Department of Social Services.
Good. And Josiah.
Yeah, my name's Josiah Melzer. I'm also with the Missouri Department of Social Services, Office of Workforce and Community Initiatives. I've been with the department for about 3 years. Previously, I was with the Air Force for 4 years before that, doing nuclear security and law enforcement. So quite a bit of difference compared to what doing
Yes.
bridge work. But I come from a background of generational poverty. So I always kind of, when I took bridges, it really helped me understand a lot of that and how to apply that and how to really understand our clients better as well. So that's kind of where bridges spoke to me a little bit as well. And that's why I really enjoy it.
Good. So when you do the workshops, do you come together in one location? Are you doing them across the state? How's that working out?
So we've been doing across the state. We do not have a limit on where we go. I go quite a bit to everywhere across the state because I'm more centrally located. And then we have a few other trainers across the state that we kind of determine, okay, who can go to this training, who can go to this training. But we go across the state, and then we kind of meet in one place if we need to. But I go to where the organizations are, the offices are, and I go meet them boots on the ground.
Great. And you do that because you work at the state level.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. So, Carrie, Josiah, Bailey, any of you, talk about how this really came about that Bridges Out of Poverty is being offered through the agency, the organization. Do you remember? Do you know?
So Bridges Out of Poverty actually came about, one of our coworkers, Sandra Huey. She was a certified Bridges Out of Poverty trainer. She is a certified Bridges Out of Poverty, excuse me, from Kansas. And she came to our team and she really introduced us to this great training. She said, I really think this would make an impact on our clients, but also on our coworkers as well, on our fellow DSS coworkers. So she started training us and it really spoke to us. We're like, wow, this could really impact. So we ended up deciding to get some other certified trainers to really spread out and to be able to provide these trainings statewide because it's hard to do it as one person. So we had multiple people certified to be able to bring this out to multiple agencies across the state.
Got it. Yeah, Sandra's been with us a long time. And like you said, she started in another state and then moved over to Missouri on there. And then when did you get trained? Was it a year ago, 2 years ago?
So March of 2024.
So talk about, as you're doing the workshops, what do you see is happening in the audience as you do the Bridges Out of Poverty information and talk about the constructs? Are you seeing changes? What kind of feedback?
Well, preparing for this really gave me the opportunity to go back and look at some of our surveys, which is one of my favorite things to do, to really hear directly from our participants how they feel they can use this knowledge to better serve their clients. So we've gotten lots of great feedback from our partners. They've told us that they're going to be able to have more compassion with their clients and understanding their situations, that it's really going to help them to improve that perception of the balance of power when they're meeting one-on-one and with their interactions. They're going to be very conscious of those of the nonverbals that they're giving out and that language they're using. It's really helped our participants to recognize their own bias that they're bringing from maybe their middle class upbringing. We've just really had a great opportunity to also bring many groups together when we're doing these trainings across the state from different agencies. So we might have a mix of people from Department of Social Services and other service agencies that are represented, maybe faith-based, maybe those that are helping children, maybe those those are helping with grief. Maybe those are serving veterans. So it's really interesting when you're in that classrooms too, to see kind of that mix and that magic that happens before and during the breaks and after, and that synergy, and seeing them relate their experiences to others, and really how we're all so similar, and really serving out that same mission of just helping people.
We always call that internally the aha moments.
I actually use them quite a bit in trainings.
We do.
Exactly.
I always have a little joke of saying this training is brought to you by Aha Process, and you will have some aha moments in the training. I always try to do as a little joke. I always try to have a little bit of fun time when we're training as well. And
yeah,
I always say during our training, if you're not smiling and having fun, then we're not training properly. So
that's great. I know, and the information sometimes can be heavy and trigger people. But, as you say, if you can put some fun activities and conversations in, the day goes so quickly when you're doing a workshop on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's
a lot of feedback too that we get of just being relatable and having a safe space for the conversation, just opening up a safe space for that.
That's so true. It is so true. No one's going to judge. You're just learning along with everyone else in the workshop on there.
Absolutely.
So how many have you done this year? How many workshops?
That's a great question. I know I should have looked that number up, but I guesstimate probably. So Carrie and I's numbers are probably different. So I've probably done 20 or 30 this year.
Wow.
I'd say I've done 10 trainings this year.
Okay. That's amazing.
And
how many do you have do you have a set number in the workshops, or is it open? So every time it's a different number?
So it depends on how we set it up. So if it is if the organization is paying for their own books, they determine the number. We like minimum 20 to kind of ensure that we have enough for group work, things like that. But if we decide to donate the books ourselves to kind of spread the word about this and everything else, it depends on how many books we have, funding availability, things like that. Usually 20 to 40 is kind of where we set it at. But we've done groups up to, you saw the Kansas City link. They had 80 people in theirs.
Yeah.
So we have no really limit on how many we do it for or anything like that. It really depends on the organization.
I'm not very good at math, but as I think about it, that's a large number of people that you're touching.
Absolutely.
With this information.
In Springfield, we just had a double hitter, I like to call it. We did 2 in one day. We did a morning session and a PM session because we had such a great sign up. So wanted to offer a double hitter. Got it.
Yeah. Sometimes you get that, and that's wonderful on there.
We've been doing for for our social services offices across the state, we've been hosting these trainings, and we've been doing double headers. So where that way, we have one morning, one in the afternoon, to be able to ensure that if they all can't come to the morning one, they can at least have the opportunity to come to the afternoon one when their coworkers come back into the office.
That's a good idea.
So we try to give the opportunity to everybody to be able to attend these trainings, especially for our social service folks.
Yeah. On there, virtual. Are you doing anything virtually with the workshop?
No, we do everything in person.
In person. Got it. There's such a difference. Yes.
I prefer in person because that's really how I can speak to them, and really how they can get the excitement, they can feel the energy in the room, versus virtually. It's harder to feel that way.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting for me to hear how the word's getting out in Missouri, and you're spreading it across the state, which is wonderful. It just is so life-changing for many people that hear the constructs and begin to embed those into their ideas, their life, their work. So it just is wonderful for me. What's your plans? What's happening 2025, the rest of this year, 2026? You'll still be out and about?
So, Carrie, do you want to go ahead and talk on your resource event?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, we've had such great synergy and just cooperation within the groups. We really want to take advantage of that. So we are going to try to plan a resource event here in Springfield and invite the partners that have participated in a Bridges training to really put that into place. So this will be a resource fair where individuals can come and actually sit down with someone. We'll talk beforehand about suspending those mental models and making sure that our communication is reflective of what we've learned in the class. So we're really excited to partner with that. And we'll also be bringing our Department of Social Services partners to that resource event as well.
Wonderful. That's a great idea.
So, and then on a different side, so we actually are planning future trainings with localized DSS offices.
Yeah.
The ones that are willing to and want to. And then we're focusing on bringing these to more community-wide trainings to where we can kind of get the word out to more community organizations, let them know about it. And then if they want to bring it to their specific organization, we can. And then we're also planning our first institutional lens training with a community partnership in Sedalia, Missouri. They went through the individual lens about a year ago, and now we're coming back to do the institutional lens with them here in September. So
you must have been reading my mind. That was the question I was going to ask, is who's ready for the next step into the institutional lens?
Yeah, and that's actually our first, Missouri's first institutional lens training we'll be hosting. And we're really excited. We were kind of trying to figure out how to present it. And then we're also trying to going through the slides and everything, because we do a lot of individual lens, but there's not so many institutional lens yet. We're hoping as it progresses that we're getting so many more institutional lenses and we can continue pressing with all of the lenses. But I'm really excited to bring this institutional lens and implement with Sedalia. So
when you go through them with a group, it's very interesting because all of a sudden you see how it gels for them and the changes that can be made institutional level.
I do remember, so we're doing in Sedalia, the community partnership there. The executive director had told me after I went and presented at one of their meetings, she had said that in the individual lens, she's worked in this type of field for about 20 to 30 years. I believe it was about 30 years. And she said there was concepts, things she learned from that, just from the Bridges class, that really made her step back and really think about it. Because she said it was amazing because she felt like, she's had all this experience. There's not a lot of learning left. But she said it kind of opened her eyes and made her realize there's a lot more learning to be had.
Wonderful. It just tells me that you're communicating it strongly and people are getting it. They understand.
And that's the main thing, is getting communicating it well, but getting that understanding. That's the main thing I try to emphasize, is understanding. And if there's someone that's having trouble, I'll sit down with them, kind of explain it to them, kind of see if I can approach it a different way. Because I know one way is not the way to get to everybody. Sometimes we have to approach it a different way for certain people because everybody learns differently.
Absolutely. And their life experiences are different. They're bringing different experiences to the table. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've really just enjoyed being able to bring this to our community. One step we're taking after the fact as well is trying to get participants involved in nexus groups. Missouri is unique in the fact that we have nexus groups that meet across the state, and these are designed to bring resources and local employers together so that our employers know what resources are available when their workforce is maybe falling on hard times and might need a little bit of extra support. And our resources know what employers are out there and hiring and are paying family sustaining wages. So connecting those two is just kind of that next step that we're trying to do with our Bridges and our Nexus work as well.
Good. And hopefully workplace stability will come in at some point with those employers. Yeah.
Yes, and we have 2 staff members trained on workplace stability. Yay. So we are working hard on spreading that message as well.
Bridges Out of Poverty training, the certification training itself, it really gave us a lot of information. And then obviously Treasurer gave us so much information that we just were learning. And then Susie as well, both. I interacted with Treasurer and Susie a lot during both trainings. So they, and I really learned a lot from all of that. And then how I prepared for my first one, when I did actually co-train with Sandra.
Yeah.
So I relied on her quite a bit. But something I like reflecting back on, like I even think about trainings I did a year ago. And I'm reflecting back on just the experience I have, and also how I trained has been completely different. How I train now is completely different now, because now I'm more fluid. I more interact with the audience. I make it fun for them. I know like certain times when to say things, we're encouraged to kind of bring some personal feel into it. And I bring that into it, and I know when to, and things like that. And it's really, the experience has helped me mainly, but also I relied a lot on Sandra for my first training. And a lot of it was just preparing, reading through the material.
Sure.
I mean, just going through the slides, just looking at the notes, and trying to figure out how I can present this in my own way.
I would say during the training, probably the most useful part was when we just kind of got pushed out of the nest and we had to take a section and actually do that training with a small group. And you just go with it. And that was, that gave you that virtual opportunity and ability to have some feedback from that safe space as well. And yeah, preparing, I would echo what Josiah said, and that, that first training looks so much different than the one that I just did last week. So I would love really to, even when I was going through these notes and everything, go back to some of these groups, that were doing it in the very beginning, and really kind of talk to them and move forward about going through that institutional lens and how we can envelop them in the entire 4 lenses.
Yeah.
But yeah, that preparing, I think it is, again, like Josiah said, just reviewing your notes. You've got great videos. I find it really helpful. I spend a lot of time looking at the YouTube videos of, like, there's other presenters. There's a lot of those supplemental materials that we have a slide on that we show our participants about. I kind of take advantage of some of those as well. I also try to maybe have some relevant statistics that are fresh from the news that might be resonating with people. So one fact that we always like to have people thinking about is, what is the cost of a 2-bedroom apartment in your community? So just some little things like that. They're going to maybe be different from, St. Louis to Bell, Missouri.
You're describing perfectly what we hope people do after a certified training to get themselves ready. Yeah. And it changes, it's a living, breathing model. And so we're always saying to trainers, please stay up to date on information, especially like you're saying, stats in your community or your state, and continue to recertify in the information so that we can provide all the updates that we have. Yeah.
I just want to say a thank you for the communication that you send monthly. It helps to put that, just those reminders and those little tidbits out there, and those tips and tricks are really helpful. So appreciate that. Continued communication from AHA process.
Good. You are welcome. I love doing it, and I like being the person you can come to if you have questions as well.